right, Matt and Megan, how you doing?
Doing great. Thanks for having us down.
How was the trip?
Oh, just a 4-hour trip from Western New York down here to just outside Cleveland, and nothing like a 90-degree left turn in the middle of a major city.
Yeah, right. Dead man's curve.
Yeah. Thanks, civil engineering. That was great. That was great foresight.
When we first moved here, they told us, you go through Dead Man's Curve, and it was like, what? And then it's a 90-degree turn in the middle of...
And it's not that it's dangerous, it's just that you're going to die of old age. That's why it's Dead Man's Curve.
Oh, yeah.
The traffic.
Yeah, that's the only traffic in the whole city is that spot.
Yeah.
Like, who would have thought that, you know what I mean? Like, let's take a hard left turn in a major city.
Yeah, my wife drives through there every night, and it should be like a 40-minute drive, and it always takes her well over an hour to get through there every night. It's ridiculous. She just rolls just past Dead Man's Curve every day. So we are in for the Ohio Scottish Games.
Yep.
And this is I've got three of these interviews scheduled for today, so I'm gonna learn about everybody. Matt, this is your first full year.
Yep, I just had my first anniversary last weekend
As a pro.
Yep.
Making money.
Yep.
And Megan, you were second at Women's Worlds last year?
Yeah, last year, second.
Yeah, that was awesome. So where have you been this year? Have you been other games or?
Did a couple local games, Sacramento, and then we had USA's a couple weeks ago
In
Kentucky.
Oh, USA's Carrie's Games.
Yeah, Carrie's Games.
Yeah, I didn't know he did that again.
Mm-hmm.
This is my best friend, and I keep no tabs on him. I have no idea what he's doing.
That's all right.
How did USA's go?
Better than last year. I took third.
Okay.
Had a lot of PRs. I think 3 events I had PRs in, and then another one was a season best.
And it's the Glasgow Games, right?
Yeah, the Glasgow Kentucky Games.
That used to be a great games. They still do men there too? They still do pro men? Or?
No. I think
the
it was
pros
an
left.
amateur.
It's just the AMs.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's replaced the pro woman thing that he used to do with
Right.
just the women's championships is what he's replaced it with.
You pay you guys?
Yeah.
Good. That's my man.
Yeah.
Have you seen any more games this year willing to pay after last year?
There's one game, I think it's somewhere in North Carolina or South Carolina. Is it Chuck?
Oh, grandfather?
Grandfather, I think, is paying.
Yeah, he's doing like a pro women's elite class for a top
Awesome.
5 or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, no, Green Hill.
Green Hill.
Chad
yeah,
Clark.
yeah,
Yeah.
The greatest
Chad.
person on the planet.
Oh,
Have you met Chad yet?
No.
He's the greatest official in every strength sport known.
Yeah, and he's just the sweetest. I've told this story before. The first time I met him, I thought he was fucking with me. I was like, because I'm naturally a little suspicious.
Mm-hmm.
And I meet this guy, and he's like the sweetest, nicest guy. And I'm like, well, these guys are obviously a serial killer. He's got bodies in his basement or something, but he's not. He's just a fantastic guy. But that's great. I'm glad he's paying you down there.
Yeah, he invited 5 women. I think it was Alyssa, Nikita,
Amanda
Emily,
Ford,
Amanda, and
somebody else.
Aslin. I think were the 5.
Okay. But you're probably coming from the farthest.
And Adrian, I think.
Well, she's not going to that one, but she's other games that she's heard of that are.
Yeah, that's the one I've heard of that's actually being paid. Besides Pleasanton pays women.
Well, yeah, Steve said
And the Claw.
Steve said they're paying pretty much what we paid, right? They were trying to get like five grand or something in prize money.
Yeah, like last year
grand?
the prize money went up significantly from the year before.
I think we did 10 grand in prize money total last year. So I think he said he was on par with what we did, which is awesome because as those games go, everyone else will start jumping on this.
Yeah.
And what'll be nice is people start competing for you. So, if Pleasanton's going to pay and Wisconsin isn't, it's kind of a no-brainer for you.
Yeah, you pick and choose, and then Portland pays, Enumclaw pays.
And now Tulsa is hosting IHF Worlds.
The Worlds.
Really?
Yeah.
In
Oh, that's
September?
right. I did, yeah. The lady, I can't remember her name. She got a hold of me right after we did it, and she was asking me a bunch of questions like how much money you needed and how'd you get sponsorship.
Sherry?
That was it, yeah. Really sweet lady.
Sherry Sweet?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I told her to stay away from the IHGF, though. I said, just give the money to the girls. You don't need the IHGF.
Yeah.
But, so where have you been this year? Have you been...
So I went up to Sacramento. That was my opener this year. Went up through for Steve. Went up to Georgetown, Ontario.
Yeah.
I like Georgetown.
I love Georgetown, yeah.
Well, that's where I met you.
Right.
However many years ago? I think that was your retirement season.
Could have been.
I think that was.
My last games was Uxbridge, but
right. But I think it was that same year. So
yeah.
The walk-off season.
My walk-off season, yeah. When I.
Where else have I been this year? Let's escaping me right now.
Yeah.
Where else have I
Do
been?
you do many Canadian games? Or?
I tried to, just because I'm so close to the border.
Right.
So I did Georgetown this year, and I'm doing Trenton in the fall.
Okay.
And then I tried to get into a couple others, but just timing wise, like, because I'm going to Scotland for the first time this year.
You do Games Week over there?
I'm going to catch the first part of it,
Uh-huh.
but I'm over there for a charity event in the beginning of August, so I'm going to catch a couple games while I'm there.
Okay.
So
That's cool, yeah. I used to love throwing in Canada, even more than the States, because the fans are super knowledgeable. They paid in cash. You know, it was great. You know, and it wasn't a bad drive for me either. You know, like 3.5, 4 hours.
I like because they take it seriously. They do
Yeah.
like the festivals are taken seriously.
Yep.
It doesn't seem like a circus sideshow thing. Like it's a lot of people of British, Irish, Scottish descent and all in one area that take it very seriously.
Yeah, and you notice a lot more real, legit Scottish vendors, you know, and people have brogues when they're talking to you, and you're getting like, I remember Georgetown used to have like this one booth set up that had like Scottish versions of movies, so like they had these old movies, but they wouldn't play on normal like DVD players and everything. Yeah, they
got a Betamax somewhere to
right.
play. Yeah,
It's a weird, packaging, and then all these towns, like there was probably, I think I did like 5 games just in Ontario, and all these little towns had their own games, and they all had tons of people coming out for them. You couldn't do that down here. People wouldn't. I mean, tomorrow, with Wellington is the only big games in Northern Ohio, and it won't be that well attended.
It was last year. It was good weather, but the forecast doesn't look good tomorrow.
We're struggling. We're going to be struggling tomorrow.
Yeah.
I can tell already.
But even that, it's an odd setup there. I really like the Ohio Scottish Games. I had a lot of fun last year, but it's an odd setup.
It is.
Because it's the Cabers in the grandstands, and everybody's there, and it's an awesome. It was one of the best Caber experiences I've ever had, crowd-wise. But then the rest of the events, like, we're off in the corner, like kids in timeout. Like
I've always said that to them, that was a problem. It used to be in Oberlin, which was a town north. And Oberlin, it's home Oberlin College, which is probably the most liberal college in the country. It's a great place, man. They have all these cool little restaurants, and the people really supported it, and it was a big deal. And people will still ask, "Oh, do you do the ones in Oberlin?" They don't even know it's moved out to Wellington.
Right.
It's been 20 years, 15 years, but the problem was they just didn't have the parking. I mean, they would inundate the town. It was just Scots, as far as the eye could see. But it used to be a really nice venue to do it there in Oberlin, and I've always had those same thoughts. So Wellington, they tuck you over in the corner, and people. I wonder if it has something to do with. It's run by that Scottish School of Arts. I think they're more into the dancing and piping. Than
which I get, because like helping run a festival too. I know, like if you're doing actual like piping and dance competitions with actual judging, that's a huge moneymaker for a festival. Yeah. Because like you know what I mean, like you might see 400 or 500 of those little girls there with the fake curls in their hair, and they all paid $50 to come get judged.
Yeah, I never thought of that. That's true. Yeah.
And they only had to pay $1,000 to get the judge there. You know what I mean? And the rest of it's
tons of money.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're big on that too. I know they have a school in Oberlin and a school out in Rocky River, which you guys drove through on the way here. But it's always been, the piping and dancing has always been big out here. Scottish dancing in general is huge. All these kids, all these girls, all these schools. The one, my son's school is like the top Gaelic dancer in the country right now, and she's like 12 years old or something. Little town out here. So you did a couple before this, and. Did you go down to Glasgow with her?
No. So that was the weekend of my festival.
Oh yeah.
Which
games is that?
The Allegheny County Celtic Festival.
Okay.
That's our 6th year, and we just introduced. I did a small pro class this year, mostly so I could throw up my own games part. But it's a charity event for vets, for local vets in the area. We run it all as a non-for-profit, the whole festival. So we're trying to get more sponsorships to get a bigger pro class.
Yeah.
But we had one guy come down from Canada, and then Aaron George came up and made his pro debut from Throw Bros.
A lot of guys are making their debut this year, right? I mean,
I think
Chad's games?
Yeah, the writing's on the wall a little bit. One, because everyone sees all these amateurs coming up. But two, there's a lot of guys retiring right now, too. Right. You know what I mean? Like, I love Zolk. Zolk's pretty much on his way out as far as games. You know what I mean? Like he'll still do his couple up in New England, but I don't doubt he's done for the most part traveling for pro games.
Right.
which is the big reason I went, because okay, that opens up games in the Northeast.
Sure.
You know, and being the
there's only so many Sparks.
and basically the only pro in New York right now until Nick Kahanick comes back from the dead.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? Like, so those spots are open.
Yeah, I'm wondering if Zolt will join us more on the Masters circuit,
Which seems kind of the way he's been going. You know, immediately he did it at the Arnold, and he's doing a couple more. I think he's going to go to Germany.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, he'll do well in Germany.
Yeah.
He should do real well. I don't remember the gentleman who won last year. I think he's from New York. In my class, the 40 to 44s, but he ended up. I'm just not sure if he won or not. He was one. The two top guys were still thrown in the pro class. So, but Zolt will do really well. The problem is getting when.
Didn't Muhlenberg go last year?
Muhlenberg, that was his name.
Man, Rob.
Yes, he was second, and I think he got screwed out of that event. He should have won that, and I was involved in that because we were doing weight for height, and I think I went out at 19 feet. Me and the guy who ended up winning the competition both went out at 19 feet. Rob ended up going.
Dickens?
No, Dickens was in a class above us. Yeah.
I guess I thought it was you was one at that, so I don't know. I'm not sure who won last year in the 40.
No, there was another. I was third. No, I was fourth. There was a Canadian guy in there too, but we both went out at 19, and I had less misses, but I came in earlier, which is apparently some Icelandic rule that if you come in early, it works against you, which I'd never heard of.
Because actually, that's the one I learned.
Right.
Was the guy who comes in earlier?
Yeah, because if you can come in and get no misses, then.
Like the guy who comes in earlier, actually, the guy who comes in later has the benefit.
Right.
Which that's how I learned.
See, that was the exact opposite.
Then when I got outside of this little neck corner of upstate New York that I was in, then it was like, oh no, you don't do that. So.
Well, I was always in all the games we did. It was always
kind of an 80 discretion thing.
Yeah. It didn't count against you or count for you, and it didn't really matter for me. You know, I ended up being fourth, but it bumped Rob down a point because me and that guy, I lost to the guy because it was crazy. But that was why he ended up in second instead of first. But you know, it was cool. We were in Iceland. We were all happy, and it was a good time.
They need to enjoy it this year because they're in trouble come next year for Masters World Championship.
Why?
Andy Vincent's coming out hard.
Good.
I talked to him at Costa Mesa.
Motherfucker.
He's ready to tear it up.
Good. I love it.
And he's throwing stones. Honestly, probably the best he's ever thrown right now.
I can't.
We're 44 and 54 on Costa Mesa.
Yeah.
He is on the Blind Dog Strength and Conditioning online program, so not to toot my own horn.
Sure. There we go. I didn't even know that was a plug.
He was my first person ever. I never wanted to do online programming, and he sent me a text. It was 2 years ago, Thanksgiving Day. He's like, "Hey, would you want to do my programming for me this year?" And I'm like, "Why?" And he was like, I want to try the conjugate thing. I know you do that. And I was like, yeah, He goes, well, what do you charge me? I'm like, you're Andy fucking Vincent. It's free.
Yeah.
If you do really well, talk me up. So he was my first person ever that I had on there. And, but yeah, he'll come out. How old is he? 41?
He just turned 40. Like almost the weekend of Costa Mesa. Like,
that's perfect, because I'll move up to the 45 class next year.
Nice, perfect.
And Andy can just slay people, and I'll never have to throw against him again. That'll be although that 45 class sucks, because Dickens is in there. He's really good, and there's another guy out.
You can kneecap Dickens though.
I might have. Yeah. I'm at the point where I don't even give a shit. I'm just having a good time. But Dickens, and there's a guy out on the West Coast. I can't remember his name right now. But then you got the Europeans, Hans from
Dieter there?
No, Lokema.
Oh yeah.
And those guys are all monsters. But it should be fun. I think they were talking about Ireland which is odd. I can't believe it would be Iceland, Stuttgart, and then Ireland. But we'll see. We'll see what they do with it. I'm hoping that's what.
I know Buffalo's going to try to get it back. They really like having it.
I wanted to go the one year. It was in Buffalo, and I hurt my hip like 2 weeks before the competition, so I was out. But that would have been an easy little drive for me. Yeah. So how long have you two been together?
Just over a year.
Year and a half.
Talking about a year and a half. Yeah.
Is it brutal being on other sides of the country?
Skype helps.
Yeah,
Skype helps,
right.
And her being a teacher helps because because like she's out here right now to visit on the East Coast for 6 weeks.
What do you teach?
PE.
Okay.
Mhm.
What?
And I sub every other subject too. So.
Oh, okay. What grade level?
High school.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You're probably you get like challenged. You have
All
to
the
do,
time,
like,
yeah.
push-ups and
Like
stuff.
badminton tournaments. So.
Yeah, I wish. I don't know how it is out in California, but the PE here is. I'll go out and throw, and you'll see the kids doing their PE class during the day, and they just walk around a track for half hour, like at a slow pace with their cell phones.
Sadly, that's majority of PE.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think PE is becoming kind of irrelevant. They're trying to cut it, like they tried
really?
to cut the arts and stuff.
Yeah.
Because I mean, technically, like there's the state tests and stuff, but if you don't pass, it doesn't count against you. So you
Right.
can technically graduate high school without passing PE.
Yeah, that's.
Which is nuts.
Yeah.
So.
I just had Joel Woods in here who was talking about an article. I still haven't looked it up yet, but it was Kennedy's. John F. Kennedy wrote an article called "The Soft American" in '68 about how we better step up our PE game. Because
Yeah, well, then he started his fitness regime through the
Right.
whole education system, and then since then it's just gone down. So.
Yeah, that's it's amazing in this day and age that we've gotten so far away from a true physical education program. I think they should be doing it similar to like a CrossFit thing where they're doing some kind of functional fitness every day. They don't have to lift weights. But
Yeah, that would make sense.
Throw
and
some
then,
air squats in and some running and some gymnastics type stuff.
Yeah, and then I know for us we have like for your third year you can elect to take a fitness, and that incorporates most of the CrossFit stuff.
Yeah.
But also you can get waivers to not even be in PE.
Yeah.
So like you have your freshman year of PE, and then you get a waiver, say to be in band, and then you somehow get forgotten, and by senior year it's like, oh, you've only done 1 year of PE. How did that happen?
But they don't. It doesn't.
But it never gets checked. So.
What constitutes a waiver? I mean, you just because you're doing another thing like band.
Well, like in our high school, band is technically 2 periods.
Yeah.
So, and they mostly won't allow a 7-period day.
Right.
So you get 6, but some are allowed 7, so they'll attach on that extra band period. But.
Yeah, I think that's going to hurt us. If not now, it's going to be soon. And you think about the strain you're putting on the insurance and the medical system, and you're trying to, put together some kind of, government healthcare plan. You'd think you'd want to amp up physical fitness for these kids. If you're looking at it long term, which I know we don't do that very often, but it'd be nice to see. And then with physical fitness instructors, and teachers, I mean, you should be able to do the things that you do as a normal athlete, be able to jump in there. I remember, my physical education teachers growing up, they were animals, I remember.
Yeah.
I had one guy who would chew on duct tape, and I'd go in there for indoor shot put practice at 6 a.m. He'd be in a dark gym just doing pull-ups, 55 years old in the dark, And, but yeah, you don't see those people anymore in schools.
No, I mean, and for your test to be a PE teacher, it's just an online test. There's no physical component for it, which I find kind of weird, but.
Yeah, it's just that, my gym teacher experience is very different. I had very, very old gym teachers when I was in, we figured, it took us a while, until we were older to figure out that whenever he would just send us outside is because when he had a super hangover and he didn't want to deal with us. One day we were in 3rd grade. This guy, we all went out to the soccer field and it was just covered in seagulls, and he pulled a 5 out of his pocket. He's like, anybody that can bring me a seagull gets $5. And we were gone for the whole hour.
That's fantastic.
Just old, and just hungover as all hell. And just
he'd be on the news like it was today. God, that was
one of my favorite stories. Like, once you figure that out when you're old, they're like, oh my god, that's why he would do that.
Isn't that weird though that you see, later on in life you see these teachers as human beings, and you're like, oh my god, yeah, that guy was drunk, or he was having a hangover, or he was dating the teacher down the hallway. That went around. I remember being my freshman year of high school, and I will refrain from saying the teacher's name, but I had my best friend was a senior and I was a freshman, And they kind of took me under my wing, which was a blessing and a curse because I got into so much shit growing up. But I'm sitting in my first class, I'm just scared to death, and here comes my buddy, and the teacher, who was just smoking hot, is kind of bent over looking through this microscope, setting up these trays for the day. And my buddy comes walking in, puts his hand right on her ass and starts talking to her, and he looks back at me over his shoulder, and I'm just like, oh my God, Ryan, are you serious? This is high school? This is great. So he was just giggling at me, but, she ended up being the teacher that was, always had one that was, scoping out the younger students and everything. And you have to have one of those in every school, I think,
But still, the sack on that guy to go even to try something like that.
Yeah. You must have done it a million times.
Yeah,
You
before,
didn't flinch,
so.
Yeah, that was crazy. Did you grow up in New York?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I spent my entire life in upstate.
So what's going to happen now if you two?
The discussion's been had.
Yeah.
If right now it's probably 60-40 her coming to New York. So.
It's cheaper.
Have you ever been in the winter in New York?
I spent Christmas.
Yep, spent a couple weeks at Christmas.
So.
Saw some brutal cold.
I was say, that's pretty much the worst place on the planet as far as winter goes.
We got me a good jacket.
Yeah, we went to the Columbia store.
Right? It's always, no matter how bad I feel in Cleveland, you can always look at weather reports from like Erie and Buffalo where it's just like, forget it. It's snow Armageddon every
But we
year.
don't. What's nice, we don't get cold. Like it gets cold, obviously, but not like it. Very rarely will ever get below 0 or like something brutal. If it is, it's like a day.
Yeah.
It's nothing like even just to go across the border into Canada, 2 hours north. You get on the other side of the lakes, and you're talking they're 10 below, 20 below 0 all winter.
Yeah.
That's a whole different animal.
Yeah, I'm done with it. We are so ready. I've got a kid here who runs. He's like my right hand guy, and I'm trying to talk him into growing a mustache because I said when it's time for me to leave, and we're looking at like 4 years. My son's out of high school. We're getting out of here. We're going south, and I thought we could do like the Princess Bride thing, where you had the Dread Pirate Roberts,
sure,
and it just becomes another guy who becomes a Dread Pirate
Yeah.
Roberts. I'll just lose my name, and he'll become Mark, and it'll be a seamless transition. And so we're going to try to do it that way. I don't know if it'll work out that way. But
Can you pull your voice off? That's the key. Can you pull that off?
Big knuckles. Well, like I was telling you earlier, this hopefully will be the first podcast with voice modulation, and he'll be the one who's actually doing it. So hopefully people wearing earbuds right now aren't getting blasted.
Would you open a South? Blind Dog South?
Depending on, I've had a lot of ideas. I'm hoping
Southern Dog.
I'm hoping the brand keeps growing the way it's growing. Wouldn't mind just doing that. I wouldn't mind opening another place down there. I wouldn't mind doing some track and field coaching, or strength coaching down there. My wife will be about 5-6 years away from retirement, so she'll just move down there and work at the VA. And so I don't know. We're gonna play it by ear. That's usually the way we run things anyhow. Is we just do it and hope for the best.
You just gonna go down and be Carrie's neighbor, or are you gonna try to go far?
Way south.
Nowhere near.
Way south of that motherfucker. I would try to talk him into coming up all summer long, and I'm trying to nail him down on a date. When he coming up? He goes, I don't know. You're the worst friend in the world. My best man has had me blocked on Facebook for 3 years. So we barely communicate, but yeah, it's always fun when we get together. What do you think of the? You got to see our group of pros. It seems like now we were dickheads to each other, and a lot of us didn't like each other when we threw. And you guys seem to all be in love with each other. Like fit selfies every weekend.
For the most part, I definitely see that. Where it's more of a kind of a group of guys that are really close. No, they're not always. There's gonna be a few guys you don't get along with, and you know what I mean. Like we're adults, you know what I mean. Like you're not gonna get along with everybody. But for the most part, I do kind of. Everybody kind of likes that whole, the kind of brotherhood thing, and it's fun. Well, a lot of us came up as amateurs together too. You know what I mean? Like, for me, like, this is the start of my 13th year doing this.
That's fantastic.
You know what I mean? Like,
how old were you when you started?
I was my first games. I was 18.
Okay.
So, and I'll be 31 this year.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I was 16 when I started. I had no idea what I was doing, but I noticed that the guys seem to be a lot nicer to each other and a lot more fun. And we had fun, but we had fun in our little cliques. And that was one of the things, you know, when I was throwing, that's part of the whole Refined Savage thing was I couldn't throw unless I was angry at people. So I had to be like, fuck that guy, I can beat him, you know?
Yeah, it's funny. I've never been that way. Which I think if I get like angry if I'm focusing on somebody else, my day's gonna go just tank.
Yeah. See, that's just always the way I thrived, and it worked well with that group because there were so many cliques and groups within the groups that, you know, some groups got along with other groups, and, you know, but it was really odd, and I don't think we had the camaraderie that you guys seem to, and the personalities are pretty entertaining. You got a lot of entertaining guys on that circuit right now.
And you don't know if that necessarily is going to last, but this group is for the most part, you know.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely an evolution because the group that was before me was 10 times worse than your father's people.
They hated everybody.
Oh yeah. Some of those guys are the guys that taught me how to do the Highland Games. Yeah. And I've seen a lot of that.
Yeah, you had who'd you have up there? Bill, was it Bill? Bill, who was up in Buffalo?
I had Mark Palmer.
And
Paul Crest were the main guys in my area.
Warren was up.
Warren Trask. Yeah.
Talk about mean motherfuckers, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Warren and I, when we first got in together, we butted heads.
Yeah.
And when he moved to the master's class, it was like all of a sudden the tension just went away.
Right.
It was just like we were pals then, you know, and you got to actually know the guy. And here's just a hard-working dude who was super ultra-competitive, you know. And I was not as hard-working as Warren. He's on a farm, but I was a hard-working guy who was just super competitive. And there was just that clash. And but like the guys your dad came up with.
Well, you're fighting for money. Basically.
That was the other thing.
So.
Yeah.
I understand
like
that.
McGoldrick? Did you know Jim?
Yeah, we call him Big Chief. He's our uncle.
Big Chief. Yeah. He was the meanest guy I ever met.
He's like our uncle. I think he's the nicest guy, but I can see that.
I love the Chief, and he was my hero growing up. Mm-hmm. And so I come up as a young amateur, and I don't think I've told this story before, but this epitomizes what pros were when I came up. So I'm at the East Coast Amateur Championships in Alexandria, Virginia, and I'm so excited because it's like the top 10 amateurs on the east side of the country, and I'm like, I got invited, I drove down here, I'm 18, 19 years old, and I'm sitting in the tent, and I'm all excited, and it was me and Jason and Kurt Pauly, and we see this guy coming across the field, and it's McGoldrick, and Jason Pauly goes, look at McGoldrick. He's got a fucking towel around his neck, like he's like Mr. Superstar, like he's got a towel around. And he's getting closer, and Kurt Pauly goes, that's not a towel. Those are his traps. You know, so I'm all giddy that the Big Chief's coming over.
Yeah, no, he's massive.
And Jim sits down next to me, and I kind of work up my amateur courage, and I look over at him, and I go, how you throwing today, Mr. McGoldrick? And he just looks down at me, shakes his head with disgust, and gets up and walks away. And Jason Pauly's sitting there laughing next to me, just clapping his hands. And so he never talked to me until I turned pro. So like, I don't know, 6 or 7 years later, me and Steve Pulcinella had flown into Portland for the first U.S. National Championships, and they didn't have our hotel rooms ready. So me and Pulcinella are passed out in the lobby of the hotel because we'd taken this all-night flight. And so we're passed out, and I wake up, and I'm all groggy, and I open my eyes, and I look up, and who's standing over me but Jim McGoldrick with his arms crossed, shaking his head at me. and he just fucks with me for a couple of minutes, but it was a much nicer fucking minute.
Yeah.
And then the motherfucker goes, well, I got to catch my car. Walks out the door, and a town car pulls up, and a guy gets out and opens the back door, and his girlfriend get in and take away.
Fantastic.
I look at Steve, and I go, is this what being a pro is going to be like?
No.
I can agree.
Yeah.
No, that's funny.
Yeah, Jim was something else, man. I love
that's a guy I love visiting with Steve. When I used to travel for a timeshare company. I was a marketing VP for them. And I would go through Philly a lot, so I'd stop into Ironsport and catch a lift.
Yeah.
If I was going to lift there, I had to get there like 2 hours for a Pulcinella, because I got there while he was there. No lifting was getting done.
Right.
It was all stories from the old days, and I had to sit there and listen to all of them. No, it's fine. It's my job. This is my job to listen to his old stories.
He was supposed to come out here for Memorial Day to be on the podcast. He just, out of the blue, texted me. He's like, hey, I'm coming out for Memorial Day. I'm like, okay.
Okay.
He's like, I'm going to do your podcast. I'm like, great. So, and then, of course, the week before, he's like, oh, I don't have any money. I'm not coming out. He is the biggest sad sack in the history of Highland Games. He's not happy unless he's miserable. And whenever he texts me, I try to give him, like, bombard him with positivity, you know, and it just makes him more aggravated at me, you know. So, but yeah, he never ended up coming out. I'm gonna have to drive out to Philly, I think, to get him on the podcast one of these days, because he is a wealth of stories. Yeah. Did he tell you about going to South Africa for World's Strongest Man? And
I gotta call. He mostly, because with his crew there, they're all strong men in there.
Yeah.
So I think he kind of goes through those all the time. But when I came through, he's like, "Oh, I can dust off the Highland Games stories. I got somebody that cares about these," and that's what I hear.
Yeah, he has the best stories. And then, you know, did you ever meet Paul Ferenczi?
Yeah, no, just on. He messaged me a lot on Facebook. He sent me a lot of stuff.
Yeah, Paul was. You think Steve's got stories? Jesus Christ, Paul will wreck you. I mean, he just will not let you away from him. We would go in for Celtic Classic every year, and Paul would just be holding court. You know, Ted wearing throwing shoes he hasn't thrown in 20 years, but he's got shot and discus shoes on. Sitting in the tent, just come, my children. Let me tell you my stories. You know, and you'd have to go over and sit there and listen to them. And are they still doing Celtic as nationals? Is that still the deal?
Yeah, it's still the big.
How
US.
far are you down? How far are you get?
So last I'm not a big NASGA watcher, but
no one is anymore. I don't think.
But I was 14 or 15 on the list.
Oh, that's good.
With 3 of the guys that are on it are done for the year or retired.
There you go.
So I got to move up past 3 or 4 people. So
you have somebody drop out for drug testing. So
right, and I kind of counted that without saying, you know what I mean, without saying names. I kind of counted that as a win already. But you know, so it's possible.
That used to be the best when they first came out with drug testing, and you just
like,
see
I'm not going.
people not going, or they're turning in their
oh, I gotta work. I gotta work. Yeah.
It was always great. I loved it.
So I mean, and not for like. You know, I know, I'm a good pro, not a great pro. This is going to be one of my better chances to get in, even though it's still kind of early on in the pro, just with so many guys retired and injured.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of making a hard push.
Make it in like your first year and a half. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, that's great.
It's just been a little tough this year. So I took a promotion at my job this year, so it's been a whole wealth.
What do you do?
So I work as a district coordinator for Aflac Insurance.
Oh, okay.
So I manage the southern tier of New York. For Aflac Insurance.
Okay.
So
big promotion takes a little time away.
Right, and that's it's for the good, But and eventually, it allows me. I like the job because I can take time off when I need to for traveling and stuff like that. It's just been tough transitioning with training and everything. And our winter sucked this year.
Yeah, it was.
It just was so long.
Yeah, it kept hanging on.
Yeah. But the only thing I could practice was because I don't mind practicing hammer because whatever it stands up in the snow. But everything else that involves footwork, you're gonna die.
Yeah. Remember, there was a meme talking about winter, and that this year's winter was like a woman who you kept getting in a fight with, and she would leave and then come back and say one more thing. Snowstorm. It was brutal. It just hung on forever, and now this is why we want to move south. It's just like me and my wife are just like 2 clenched fists all winter long because we have both that seasonal depression. And then as soon as it's nice out, we're like, oh, honey, I love you. This is great.
Well, this is going to be brutal for you. You've retired once already.
I'm retired from throwing. I'm retired from a job.
You're like, come on, I'm ready to move.
I'm ready to go.
What's taking you so long?
Yeah, I didn't make any money until I retired, that's for sure. I mean, my job was when I was throwing for cash. I needed the money because my job was I was working in a correctional facility, but the pay was so brutal, I mean, it was horrible.
Right, it was all working towards the pension, right?
But like you said, that's what drove a lot of that pissed offness, was that people were
you're fighting for money.
Yeah.
A lot of these people, it was their livelihood.
Yeah.
A lot of them.
Your old man, and for those of you who don't know, Megan's dad was Ron Mckee, and the way I think people don't understand. I think the first time I saw your old man was in the Brian Oldfield shot put video. Mm-hmm. So for those of you out there who've seen the Brian Oldfield shot put video, there's a dude in it who's kind of short and stocky, and he's got this big giant man curl.
The Jupro.
Yeah.
And he's in the video, and he's a spinner, and you'll know him when you see him. And that's how I first saw him. And then I threw with him against him for the first time in Knoxville, Tennessee, years and years and years ago. I mean, how old are you?
I'm 26.
You may have just been born.
Yeah, it'd be like 91.
Because I was a pro for 17 years, 22 years total. So, I mean, you were very young, I'm sure. And it was me and him and Francis Brebner, Chris Rusher, Ryan Vieira. And, of course, I just got my ass handed to me. But it was so cool to be sitting in the hotel bar with Ron Mckee.
That's tough sledding.
That was tough. Yeah, I remember. And Peter Goodmanson was the other one. So I remember sitting in the hot tub with it was me and your dad and Peter Goodmanson and Peter's wife, and then looking up at these glass elevators that you could see in them as they were coming down. And Francis Brebner, who at the time was, I don't know, he's on a little bit of drugs, I don't know, but he was super jacked. I mean, jacked to the tits. And he's doing like a full Mr. Olympia routine on the glass elevators on the way down. We're just giggling at him. It was, those were some outlaws back in that day for sure. But your old man threw in the heyday of throwing ever. I mean, he knew all the legends, right? I mean, did you have like Wolfgang Schmidt at your house growing up?
Actually, yeah.
Did you?
Yeah, he was at our house. We had Alistair Gunn.
Alistair was fun, yeah.
Yeah. A lot of others, McGoldrick, Ryan Vieira, and
all of them.
A bunch of people I can't remember right now. But I'm sure almost all of them were at our house at one point in time.
I interviewed your dad, again, probably 20-some years ago for Long and Strong Throwers.
Yep, he's got it.
Yeah, and he told a bunch of stories about him and Plucknett not liking each other, and that was funny because your dad's, 5'8"? And Plucknett's about 6'8".
He always said if he was as tall as me, he'd throw 70 feet. So.
I think that probably was true.
Yeah.
He was just short, he had those little tiny gator arms. And,
hey, me too.
Yeah, it's always good to see that dude. I haven't got to see him very much over the years, but every time he'll sneak up on you. You don't know he's coming.
Yeah, well, we had to persuade him to come out to Worlds last year, and I was like, all your friends are gonna be there. Let's go. And then all his Masters friends were like, you're not gonna go to Worlds. Your daughter's in it. What's wrong with you? So we got.
She shamed him into going.
Yeah.
Did you have a choice? I mean, what got you into throwing?
Honestly, I did like it.
Yeah.
So people are like, oh, your dad pushed you. No, I honestly liked it, and it was a way for me to go to college for free. So I had a full ride to Fresno State, and through shot put, discus,
What'd you
hammer,
throw in
weight.
high school?
Shot put was 46.9.
Solid. Wow.
Discus was 140s. And hammer was 175.
Wow.
With
Did they have hammer in high school?
Not in high school.
Okay.
So obviously, if you do all three, you're more valuable to colleges and stuff. So my last 2 months of my senior year, kind of picked it up, and a two turned 175.
That's solid.
Like,
Who was the coach at Fresno back then?
Lisa Misapica.
Oh yeah. She was awesome. That girl was a hammered monster.
Yeah, I loved her.
Used to wear the little tennis skirts and everything when she threw. And jacked up little Samoan girl or whatever the hell she was.
Yeah.
Did you throw in college?
Yeah. I threw a D3 school, Brockport.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, what were the marks in
I hit 50 in the hammer, so that was my that was my best. And then most of my college career was defined by injuries. I spent most of my time in the training room.
Yeah.
I hurt my back really bad my sophomore year.
Yeah.
And then that kind of that rode with me through most of it. And then right before I transferred, so I went to JUCO 2 years. I wasn't going to do college track, but the JUCO coach, he's a great JUCO. He's like, he'll find just random people that are on campus, like, 120 and 40, I can work with that. And I ended up going much farther than that in discus shot and hammer there. And then I transferred to Brockport D3. The day before indoor started my junior year, I broke my foot.
Oh, Jesus.
So, it was just you know what I mean? I probably could have been a 55-meter guy had I not been injured.
Yeah.
But that's probably, in my opinion, probably been my ceiling.
Well, it always leads you to Highland Games too,
That's just it. And I was doing the Highland Games. I started the Highland Games right after my freshman year.
Yeah.
That was like, all right, I can handle the 35-pound weight.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I think I can handle the 56. Let's go. That was my mindset. I did it right after my freshman year of college.
I love
did my
throwing
first
the
games
42.
at Mark Palmer.
And when I was a pro, I loved throwing the 56, but I can't imagine throwing a 56-pound weight now. It just sounds fucking horrible.
I hate WOB so much.
Yeah.
With
the WOB with the 42, I'm still fairly strong that it doesn't feel like anything.
Yeah.
But when I'm turning, my body just is like, fuck you. I don't want to do this anymore.
What are you doing?
And I always think, as soon as the season's over, I'm like, yeah, I'll get back in there. I feel great. I'm going to throw this thing the first practice out. It's just like, what the fuck? Everything hurts. And right now I got something going on in my neck where it feels like my collarbone's in the wrong place. Every night my wife's pushing down on my trap.
You thought about the 56 too hard to pull your neck.
Really pulls it out of joy. So, but the worst thing in all those videos I did when I retired.
Yeah, Highland Games series. I
said.
I was the only amateur that got mentioned by name in that entire series.
Well,
That's
because it was
my claim to fame.
But what was it? What did I say? Was it about the 56?
No, you were making when you came up to me, you were making fun of my socks because I was bringing back the crazy sock thing like Carrie did.
Carrie did it. I told Carrie he was ruining Highland Games because all these guys were wearing crazy socks. It was just like, why the fuck did I care if people were wearing crazy socks or not? Yeah. So yeah, that was.
Yeah, I was fine with that. I was the only amateur that was mentioned by name. I was like, that's fine. 12 video series.
I'm out there.
Yeah, I made it.
Well, that's because at least we knew you and we knew Gillingham. So with both of you, Gillingham got it way worse than you. We tortured him. I've been having to do some major apologizing tonight when Gillingham.
Is he coming in next?
He's coming. I got Nate and John coming in next.
Oh, yeah.
They should be here any minute. Yeah. And then Gillingham, I've got to feed him tonight, and then I'm bringing him on the podcast. I'm going to try to get a couple drinks in him. So
there you go. That's good. Live. Do Facebook Live. Don't even record it.
That's a good idea. We should do that. Who's the big gun tomorrow? Who's in your class?
Probably Gillingham.
Gillingham.
Yeah, he won it last year. So
Well, Piling's good too, right?
It all depends on which one of him shows up. He's not. I think he's more on the downside of his career at this point.
How old is he?
He's in his mid-30s, I think.
Oh, what a fucking ancient.
But like for him, because he did track at a very high level for a long time. So like athletic career-wise, like he's doing a lot of hours with the fire department. I think that has more to do with it than anything. Not necessarily he's getting older, but I think the workload probably has most to do with anything.
Yeah, it's a tough balance. You're traveling all over the country. You need to have every Friday off, every Saturday off, most Sundays off. Sometimes Thursdays. It was always towards the end of my career at the correctional department, I had saved up all of this vacation and comp and sick time. So it's just like, I'm taking every Thursday off
for the
whole summer. Right. And I would just have Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday off, and then I would work like 2 days during the week for 16 hours, and that would be it. But it's not an easy lifestyle. How many games are you doing?
Well, when I was at AM, I was doing 20 plus a year.
On your own dime, which is that's
sick. With doing the pro thing, I think I'm closer to between a dozen to 15.
Do you want to get up more though?
I'd like to stay at 15. Is I feel like great for me. Like I like doing it. You know what I mean? Like I don't do it because I do it because I want to. I don't. Right. You know what I mean? Like that's why I'm helping a lot of the games in upstate get sponsorship for a pro class. You know what I mean? If it's just a small amount of money just to cover the travel to get a few guys there and have the numbers count. Yeah. And then be able to go to bigger games and get, the bigger payouts. But, I just like doing it.
Yeah. We used to help out, like Alex would start. I love Alex.
Yeah. And, she runs fantastic. She's a great judge. She runs these games. Yeah. That's why I love doing massive events. Like, you know exactly how they're going to be run.
Yep. And there's rules and regulations and everything's the same. But she would start at games, I remember her starting at games in Baltimore, and it was like $300 to drive 5 hours. And it was like, fuck. That's not a lot of money, but it was like, it's Alex, we got to go. So Carrie and Craig would jump in our cars and go, and in hopes that you'd help her games out, You never thought that it was going to, I don't think that games, I don't even know if it's still,
I don't think
Frederick,
so.
Maryland.
Frederick. Yeah, Frederick's still going.
Frederick's still going, good, yeah. But I remember doing that, man. It would be like, I was a track coach too, so I would be at conference championships. Yeah. As soon as my last thrower, I'd have to jump in the car, and then, Carrie and Craig would come up, and it was crazy. But yeah, it's you got to help those young games.
Well, that's just it. You know what I mean? Well, when I started, there were only 2 games in all of New York that you could actually, and that an amateur could actually compete at.
Yeah.
So I've helped a lot get a lot of these festivals either started or get them athletics.
Yeah.
I started athletic competitions at festivals that never had it before. Several games, and now they're up and going, and now like you could do almost an entire season just in New York and be fine.
Yeah. So yeah, because I don't remember ever throwing in New York.
Because the only real pro games in New York is Altamont.
Right. Yep. That's and I remember Will used to do a games. Will
Syracuse.
Barron. Okay.
Yeah, Syracuse was a pro. Then he had Cortland for a while.
Cortland was the one that he used to run. That it was always on the weekend of some other games that we wouldn't go to.
I feel like it was the same weekend as the Claw.
That's probably it.
Yeah, I think
we were missing the Claw. Hated that game, but man. The payout was great, and the nightlife was Jesus Christ. That games, we got in more trouble at that games in those local bars than it was crazy. Yeah, it was. Have you gone out to
No, see, it's always been. I never wanted to go as an amateur. I'm like, if I'm gonna go, I'm gonna go and do it as the. I never finished the math out. I think I would have made it last year under the old rules.
Right.
But then they changed the rules on it right before the names went in last year when Oslick died. Wally.
Yeah.
They changed it to amateur. They only taking amateur marks from 2 games.
Okay.
And I hadn't been a pro yet, so basically I had 2 zeros by the new scoring system. So, because they were only taking Minnesota and North-South.
But they didn't tell people until a week.
Well, because
Jeez.
which is fine. You know what I mean? Like a rule change is fine, but I would have waited until the next year.
Is that an open? I mean, it was all pros when I was there, but I can't remember.
Well, but if you were a good enough amateur and your marks were good enough, you could have got in.
Gotcha.
And because I'm good at sheaf, like that's what kind of keeps me with a 20 keeps me involved.
Yeah.
But what happened was they changed which understandably like I get the rule change, but it was just odd like to change it that close to.
Right.
So it's like, all right, well, I would have done way less traveling last year because I front loaded my season last year in hopes to get into the Claw. Yeah. So I did like 7 games in a row in the spring.
Yeah.
So by the time like summer came around, I was done, just absolutely torched. But whatever. It is whatever. So I'll get in. But now I'm actually being part of a games up in upstate New York called the Great American Irish Festival.
Okay. 60,000
people plus attend this. They just had athletics for the first time last year, and they have a pretty decent budget for stuff. I think if we go up there and they want me to be part of the conversation, I think they could get a budget that would rival the Unum Claw. So it'd be interesting, and because it's the same weekend too.
Right. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, those Irish festivals, if you have a Scottish Games, you get a decent attendance. You make it a Gaelic Games, or a Gaelic festival, or a Celtic festival.
Their concert tent was the size of a hockey arena.
Right.
It was huge.
Yeah.
Huge tent.
That's like Dublin is down here in Ohio.
That's what it reminded me of.
Yeah.
And it's up in Utica, New York, out by Syracuse, kind of way.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, so pros tomorrow. I'm throwing with you tomorrow.
Woo.
Yeah.
Me and you and 18 other people are going to be in the same group tomorrow. I tried to get, Alex is trying to work it so I'm announcing the caber, but I don't know if I'll get to do it or not. So
hopefully.
I'll just make up a bunch of stories.
She makes the rules, so
you're going to be throwing while you guys are
she's
throwing.
The person your wait time's long enough for the 20-person flight.
Right?
Yeah, you can make it.
Throw and then just go and run over, and maybe I get a really good throw in during whatever event we're doing and just pass my other 2 attempts.
Yeah.
But so I want to thank you guys for coming in. This has been fantastic. Tell them where to find you guys on Instagrams or whatever.
So follow me at Matt Hand Throws. That's where you see a lot of my training updates and updates on the trip to Scotland later this summer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mine is Megan1291, and there's an extra A in there, so MEAGAN.
Right, your parents were
1291.
evil and added that actual.
They wanted another H. They wanted an H in there too.
The extra
but
A for awesome.
They cut the H.
All right. Well, I want to thank you guys for coming out. This has been great. It's been good to actually sit down and get to talk to you guys. I don't think we've ever had a real conversation for any length of time. So, thanks for coming on. Good luck tomorrow, and good luck the rest of the season.
Cool. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks for having us.
Guys. Nice talking to you.